I'd like to talk a little bit about jump-starting your career. One of the most common questions that people have for me is, how do I get into this business and do it quickly? How do I do it economically? How can I start making money with a minimum investment of time and energy and all of that kind of thing? And the first thing I'm going to say is, if you think that's going to be easy, then think again. I can't tell you how to do it with absolutely no investment of time or energy. There's a book out that I recently saw called How to Write a Bestseller in 28 Days and Only 5 Minutes a Day. Well, guess what? If I type as fast as I can type about 2.5 chapters, maybe 50 pages in 2.5 hours. That's not a best-selling novel. That's just a good start to a best-selling novel. It's going to take me much more time than that to do it. And the truth is that it is going to take you an investment of time and energy. Having said that, I can tell you that I started my career rather quickly. According to statistics that I once read in a magazine, writing magazine years ago, it takes the average person 7 years from the time that they begin writing to the time that they write publishable fiction and start publishing on a regular basis. Now, this was back in the 1970s when the study was taken, and there was another study that said, roughly about the same time, that the average novelist didn't make it and break out and become a big bestseller until, generally speaking, their 7th novel. And in fact, publishers used to groom novelists with the idea that we're going to start off your career slowly and start building an audience, and then you're going to break out somewhere around book number 5 to book number 7. And so you figured that since the publishers wanted one book every year, it was going to take another 7 years from the time that you began publishing to the time that you broke out. So that's 14 years invested before you ever break out and start making a good living as a writer. I looked at those figures when I was in school, and I said, that is unacceptable. I was a pre-medical microbiology major at the time, and I thought, I want to see if I can figure out how to do it in 1 year. I turned my first story into a little writing contest, and I wrote the story, and I won 3rd place in the writing contest. And so I set a goal for myself. I said, next year I want to win 1st place in a writing contest. That was going to be my objective measurement of how well I was doing, was that I was going to win a contest the next year. And so I started writing, and I started thinking a lot about how to win writing contests. As I was doing that, I think I didn't even realize that subconsciously I was also thinking about how do you please an editor. But I came up with some ways that I discovered to please writing contest judges, to win contests, and to please an editor. I decided that if I was going to win 1st place in a writing contest, it might be easier if I had more than one story in a writing contest. So I submitted stories to several writing contests, to actually 6 of them. And the following year, I won 1st place in all 6 of the writing contests. But beyond that, the story that I won the International Grand Prize for the Writers of the Future contest with, not only won in that contest, but we went to the World Trade Center at the top of New York for the awards ceremonies. I was approached by 8 different editors while I was out at those awards ceremonies. They had already heard about my story from other writing judges and agents and stuff like that. And so within 2 weeks, I had a 3-book contract with Bantam Books, and I had also looked at a couple of other publishers before deciding to go with Bantam. It turned out to be a great experience. So I went from being a complete unknown, almost a novice writer, really. I had written a few parts of chapters of novels when I was a teenager, but I hadn't written anything for probably 5 or 6 years. But I went from being an unknown completely to being an author within a year. My first book won the Philip K. Dick Memorial Special Award as one of the best science fiction novels of the year, and also stayed on the bestseller list for 5 months in science fiction. So it really provided a boost in my career. And I think that just about anybody can do that. And you need to look at your resources and say, okay, how much time can I invest? How much money can I invest in this? And what am I willing to do to try to break out in the near future in writing?